So they'll be calling you a radical, David versus Goliath. So this video is, we've developed this really incredible, small, teeny, great, that finally have woke up and understand that nuclear energy and nuclear bombs are one and the same, and it's the greatest imperialist fucking tool of them all. So it's like when you go to school, or you're in a group. In the old days, I'm not talking now, it's pathetic now, but I'm talking way back, and you got through to postgraduate, you got your graduate back. I'm talking 40, 50 years ago. You got up there, and there's a small, teeny fucking group few, and you're like, wow. That's what's been developed here, this post-ignorance project. And because 99.9999999% of the air-sucking, whatever they are, they just exist, and they don't exist. So why would Jeff Bezos fly his Learjet to the COP26 in Glasgow? Because it's imperialism. When you're going to wake up and realize that these parties, Biden, Trump, Obama, are identical Fukushima nuclear energy cover-up puppets. They're imperialist puppets. Both parties are completely lock-stock imperialism. You're supporting a Trump or a Biden or even a political party at this point. You shouldn't be watching these videos. Run along and reinforce your dogma. Get your dogma burgers. So, in Ohio, this is about as pathetic as it gets. Ohio busts them, the FBI office, for the bribes. They bust 4 lead state legislators for taking bribes. One's already either got suicided or committed suicide. The other 3 are going down. They'll go to prison for a long, long time. But the bribees, aka the nuclear energy, the untouchables. Corporations are people. First Energy, the Cleveland Browns Stadium, named after the bribers. Now think about that. Well, it's no different than the Utah Jazz and Energy Solutions. Vivid got busted for Ponzi scheme recently, but it goes on here. So they stole billions for years. They've agreed to pay back 300. That's their penalty. Now, Householder and the other one's dead. The other going to prison for years, but these guys pay back with your own money, $300 million. Oh, that'll really hurt them. They'll just raise the rate and use that. Say, shareholders here, because the stock market's being funded by you, the taxpayer. It's a Ponzi scheme. So this video is important because Germany stood up to Biden and Bezos yesterday. Bezos is running this country, if you haven't noticed. All the dot-coms go broke, not his. Where did he get all his funding? They were not profitable for 25 years. Who can do that? Who's funding him? Come on, we know who's funding him. Musk, Gates, they're running this country. If you don't think so, this is imperialists are running this country. Billionaires who pay no taxes. It's imperialism, mission accomplished. They poisoned the planet. You ever wonder why all these imperialists are so nuclear energy mad? SMRs, all over the media. Kevin Blanch is your only resistance on SMRs, which is a fairy tale. There's no such thing as an SMR. They're experimental price energy. So they steal billions, pay back $300 million. Not an incentive, not a deterrent, incentive. So this video is to say thank you in California. Thank you to California. I've been involved in this anti-nuclear nightmare for my whole life. Fukushima. The only state that stood up. The only state that stood up. We took down San Onofre, which is the greatest accomplishment in grassroots activism history. That is the domino that has since taken down well over 35% of all nuclear energy death machines in the United States. The only state that stood up, post-Fukushima and took them down is California. We got to finish the job at TikTok, Diablo, Canyon, Clock, and we're going to finish the job. Because I'll tell you why. Because, they're trying to bail out. They're trying to get money in. They're trying every dirty trick. It's funny how, politics work. Germany has stood up in Europe. Germany's made statement after statement, says, no, fuck you. We're done with nuclear energy. We're done. And they use the word Fukushima, Fukushima, Fukushima. I got an argument with a professor yesterday talking about the cover-up of Fukushima. I says, no, the cover-up of Fukushima is only here. We live in a freaking bubble in the United States. They're talking all over Europe. They're talking all over Asia. They all understand that Fukushima is the greatest ecological catastrophe in human history. They don't want to lose their entire country to some imperialist. One meltdown, your country's over. Chernobyl, I don't want to become a nuclear energy refugee. 1/6 of the entire real estate of freaking Japan is gone forever now because of the nuclear, not to mention the Pacific Ocean, not to mention, I did interview after interview for decades. Where's the safest place to live to stay out of the nuclear energy poison? I used to always say San Diego, if we can get San Onofre shut down. That was always my plan, move back there, and we got to shut down. But why is it not the desal plan? Because we go further to the left. Ocean currents move. Jet stream moves left, right. Fukushima took care of that, didn't it? It's amazing to me in Oregon who should be screaming the most. Washington, the state of Washington. They're the most denier, apathetic of them all as far as the Fukushima disaster, which should be screaming the most. The salmon collapse, dead tide pulls at your feet, the fires. Not a peep out of the state of Washington. Not a peep. Unbelievable, actually. Origami, fold it up and just pretend. Okay. That's the world we live in, Pretendville. Well, I don't live in Pretendville. I live in the real world. I've been fighting AML leukemia. There's nothing pretend about fighting that disease in your body. So I want to say this video, thank you to Germany. Of course, thank you to Austria. They're the greatest anti-nukers there ever was. Have been from the great Freedom Eisenbach. Thank you, of course, in Denmark. They've been fierce for years. Thank you to a lot of the people in Europe, in Asia for fighting back, trying. The activists in Taiwan, the activists in China. I mean, the activists in Japan, they put them in jail there. The U.S. runs Japan, the 51st state. They lock you up. The State Secrets Act is the United States. We live in a more... You think this is any different than 1930s Europe? Way worse. I mean, Google. The repression of the information. Just think about... People say... This is a wannabe monarchy. Trump even come out and said, I want to be like Tsar Putin. Well, you think that Russia is imperialism, again, full blown out. They have a king, a monarchy. Why would the monarchs be there? Prince Charles and his 150 servants. His son. What happened to his son's mother? The other one, he's the heir to the... it's the same old thing, 1914. You skip World War history. Not in California. We didn't skip it. The Russian River on Balka. So thank you to California. Thank you to all the activists all over the world that have fought this imperialism. The United States is 100% gone. It's gone. We used to be a republic with a constitution. Patriot Act. Remember the Patriot Act was supposed to be temporary? And imperialist wannabe, the greatest imperialist wannabe I ever saw in my life, Barry Antoinette Obama. Let them eat yellow cake. The cover-up of Fukushima. And then the handoff. Obama and Trump are identical twins. You know they're friends. Did you know they're friends? They're identical twins. They've got you so politically thinking that Biden's with them. Biden was vice president on the cover-up of Fukushima. How did he get elected? So thank you to Germany, because Germany stood up yesterday and told them to eat shit. They're not listening to the United States' bullshit. Take one down, pass it around. I want to say thank you to California, the only state in the country that stood up to the nuclear industry, said, fuck you, we're done. We're done, is California. New York sure didn't do it. They bailed them out. 7.6 billion. Illinois, so it's not left, right? The lefty states all bailed them out. Why? Beyond me. I guess the ignorant have inherited the earth. The right states all build them out. Utah built them out fraudulently, and we don't even make nuclear energy. Oh, we do now. We're sponsoring little SMRs all over. In Idaho built them out. What? Yeah, Idaho says we can send. Bring on the nuclear waste to our place. Let's finish the job in California. The only state in the country that stood up. Post-Fukushima, lots of European countries post-Fukushima, they got it. One word I used to say for years. Well, I have said. You've heard it a million times. As an anti-nuclear activist, you need to know one word. You don't need to be a nuclear physicist. You don't need to be a quantum physicist. You don't need to even be a marine biologist. You don't need to wear all those hats like Kevin Blanch does. And I will say this to the community. These fake scientists are mystified, baffled. They're not scientists. Try me on my credentials. Try me. Try me. You take your pieces of paper that you've been handed to because they hijacked academia. It's a joke. It's a joke. You got to go rogue. This graduate program of Kevin Blanch's, we've had graduation. We got a whole bunch of PhDs out there. We've probably, I figured we got about 300. If really, out of all these 333 million, we end up with 300. That's enough. The Blanch 300, the post-ignorance army versus the nuclear energy imperialist. They think all their money is the winning. No, it's the losing team. They don't get it. Comfortability is not the zenith of life. They have no clue, so disconnected from any reality. Poverty, walking the coast and sleeping in a sleeping bag for freaking years at a time, off and on. Woo, the journey I've had. Talk about living the reality. Talk about a learning experience. Sweet are the uses of adversity. That be Shakespeare, boys. So, thank you in California to everybody. It was grassroots activists that got involved. And I'm involved in all these reactors and all these things, and I show up. In Utah, it's me. I'm the only one. I mean, that's it. You know, you got me. I'm the one that battles them. In Idaho, you got me. It's one person that battles them. You know, and nobody shows up. In New York, it was me. You basically had me fighting them in a real way. You know, you have some panty painters out there trying to become the next Helen Caldicott or the Chris Busby or, you know, Arnie Gundershield, these oppositional celebrity freaking anti-nuclear book writers who were never in this to win it. But in California, we had an army. When we took on Sen Onofre, we had, you know, Kathy Iwani from Japan who's there. She lobbied in the school district. I mean, it was a hell of a fight. It was a chess game. And we had Kamala Harris at the time. She's since quit us. Well, I still don't get that. Her mother, the epidemiologist, Livermore. I still don't understand. But she did meet with Saga with Caroline Kennedy at John Kennedy's gravesite, November rain. I guess that's saying something because Caroline Kennedy's a hardcore anti-nuclear. Not since there was Catholic in the White House. This guy's a fraud. This guy's not an anti-nuclear. This guy's status quo. This guy is Trump. Trump, Obama, Biden. And I feel like how you've fallen for the imperialist dynamic. This is not a monarchy. This is a republic with a constitution. Oh, they shredded the Constitution. So I guess maybe it is. No wonder Trump said he wanted to be like Putin. That's not a president. In Japan, the same ruling party. 93% of the people want no nuclear energy, yet they shove it down their throat because the United States runs Japan. The CIA imperialist. I will quote Edward Snowden again for the umpteenth time. You only right? People, I says it was on 60 Minutes. Leslie Stahl and freaking Lake Barrett were on 60 Minutes. They told the whole world that everything Kevin Blanch. It took them 3,100 freaking 12 days to tell you what Kevin Blanch told you in the first hour. This has never happened before. Where are they at? The cores are in the earth. China syndrome, which I named Del Mar, Argentina syndrome, not to be confused with Del. Isn't the Breeders' Cup at Del Mar this year? You drink up your desal water. You drink up your desal water and your $12 bill, and it's pathetic. Bob Baffert cheating down. It's American culture. It's the World Series tonight. Mark McGuire swinging Albert Bell's bat, riding Lance Armstrong's bike on the top of a Bob Baffert trained horse. And if you don't understand that metaphor, run along to the Colbert Report, who sold us down the river, or Dutch sense and sit and drool on yourself. Tell me where babies come from. You know, the Fukushima denier clan who were paid opposition. Who just, I think about it. I ain't going to quit you. I'm glad. I'm glad because it's like when I taught at the number one school of business. We would slowly weed it out, and then we ended up with it. And I used to be a pass-fail guy. I don't like A students. They're the worst. I like C students. They're dynamic thinkers. But we've let the imperialists take the food, not in California. California's leading the way, not in Germany, not in Austria, not in Denmark, not all over Europe, not in Italy, not in Spain. We've said no. You know, and thank you. Thank you. to all the grassrooters. Gene Stone's passed away, Gary Hedrick, Ace Hoffman, Donna Gilmore, Donnie Young, Kathy Iwani, everybody who fought them, Myla Reason for all those years, old Donna, I've been at it my whole life. We tipped that domino. It's the greatest grassroots activist in human history. That domino was unbudgeable, and we kicked it over. They would have never shut down San Onofre if we wouldn't expose their fraud. They were afraid of jail. But in Ohio, they should have. I mean, how can it be that the bribees go to prison, yet the bribers, still $1 billion, still $3 billion, pay back $300 million? We can do math. Not a deterrent, an incentive, actually. It's disgusting. Corporations are people. Same thing happened in Utah, new scale. Just complete bribes. They hide behind the corporate veil. And Ohio freaking First Energy Stadium. Go Cleveland Browns. Why do you think they never win? Look what the stadium's named. That's why I turned on the scumbag Jazz. What they did to Bobby Sloan, she died of cancer. She was something else. Jerry wasn't. Oh God, what he evolved into. Well, the Jazz are scum. The attorney marries Gail Miller. I mean, what that evolved into is disturbing. Larry Miller rolling over his grave. Oh, everybody is. What we've evolved to here in Utah. These are important videos for our graduate program. Even if there's 100 of us left, that's a big army. Durnford said it right yesterday. He says, can you imagine if we had 100 Kevin Blanches? Or Dana Durnford's? Dana's relentless. He's the professor in the classroom, as I call him. But I've been at this my whole life. I'm about on location doing the dirty work. We shut down that reactor. I want to say this. Let's finish the job. Let's get Diablo. Thank you to Jane and Linda, Mothers for Peace. How great of activists are they? Thank you to the old Abalone Coalition, who are all passed away, who taught me. My father, who they nuked to death. He was the greatest. That dude got it, man. San Onofre Marine. Oh, he got it. He was a hard anti-nuker. Thank you in Austria, Global 2000. You get paid. Thank you, Freedom Eisenblau. Thank you to all these great we're winning. Germany, thank you. Thank you for standing up to the nuclear energy imperialist crime. The United States is gone. It's gone. It's imperialism. So we have to be tactical. California is the only state that stood up. New York bailed them out, went to sleep. Illinois bailed them out. Utah bailed them out. Idaho bailed them out. I can go on and on and on and on. The only state post-Fukushima. Germany stood up. Big time yesterday. They're not buying Bezos, why is Bezos there? Because Biden's his puppet. Just like Trump was his puppet. The nuclear energy crime syndicate, three-headed freaking puppet. That's all they are. That's all they are. And if you're still thinking you're political at this point, you're a fool. But we tactically win these armies. I call it the Blanche 300. Remember when you used to do a video and it'd go 301 and it's blocking? And my videos used to go 301 immediately, just like that. So, the Blanche 301. The Post-Ignorance Army. What a special group. What an amazing special group. And it's been a hard, ugly journey. We're up against, how did they do it? One by Jetstream, two by cable TV. But for the Post-Ignorance Army and the Blanche 301, we reached into the bag and we slung the stone in San Diego County, California. San Onofre's in San Diego County. I got news for you. It's on the border. We struck that freaking nuclear energy giant. And that stone embedded in his head, and he fell to the earth. For I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, which I have. I fear no evil. And it had to be this way. It had to be intense. It had to be radical. It had to be fearless, which I am. They picked on the wrong dude when they fucked with Kevin Blanche. The Blanche 301. Doesn't matter if this gets 30 views because my toothpaste is out. My lightning got out of the bottle, and then I flipped the bottle behind Pandora's bottle behind my freaking back, and I shattered it with a bat. Their paradigm's broken. They just don't know it's broken. They're done. They're done. So, again, I cannot say how much I love all of you in California and what you've been able to do there. The only state out of 50 that took on the nuclear energy crime syndicate and said, fuck you. Only 1 out of 50. Think about that. There you go. 1 in 50. California did it. They took them on and said, fuck you, get out. Let's finish the job. Tick-tock, Diablo Canyon clock. The rest of these states, Utah, I've tried to defend my home. I've tried to defend my grandchildren, but they refuse to defend themselves. Idaho, they just let them mow them down. So, Germany, all over. Thank you, Germany. Boy, they stood up yesterday and told the freaking United States nuclear energy imperialists, the Bezos Gates freaking puppet Biden, which is the three-headed Obama dumber, Trump dumbest. Biden, what's a spent fuel pool? I don't know. Pathetic. The BLANCH 301. Our army. Oh, we're winning. Stay in this fight. Stand tuned. Thank you, California.